Hello everyone and welcome to Porto! So this is actually my first time in Porto and in Portugal in general, which is kind of crazy because I've wanted to come here for so long. We flew in from Luxembourg and met my parents here, and they arrived 2 days before us, so they already had opinions, favorites, and they were fully ready to guide us. I did a bit of research before coming, but everyone kept saying the same thing: don't overplan Porto. And I feel like that already tells you a lot about a city. It's not really about ticking things off, it's more about just walking and letting it happen. We started around this area with the churches and the garden, kind of just wandering around, and I immediately noticed that the Porto is not flat at all. My parents have been to Lisbon, and comparing these two cities, they said Porto is a bit more flat, but still it has quite a lot of hills, so you're constantly going up and down, so be ready and wear some comfortable shoes if you are planning to come here. We passed by the famous bookstore that everyone is talking about, but the line was honestly insane, and instead we went to the shop right next to it, so I think I even liked it more. It's like 3 floors of random but really nice stuff, souvenirs, local products, and then on top floor you can actually make your own tiles. It's kind of like a workshop, so I'm not sure how you can actually apply for it, but maybe they have a website or something, so feel free to check it out yourself. The shop felt very relaxed, and you can even go to one of their balconies and just enjoy the view of Porto around you. After a bit of walking, it was the time to stop for our first pastel de nata, and I feel like this became a theme of the trip. If you are not familiar with pastel de nata, it's an authentic Portuguese custard tart, and inside is very creamy and soft, but the outside shell is very crispy, so you kind of get this mix of textures, and the taste of course is amazing. So I would say definitely this is one of my favorite desserts of all time. We quickly passed through the urban market and then headed to São Bento station, which is a train station, but not the kind of a train station that you just pass through. If this is where you take your train, I'm sure it's best if you come at least 1 hour earlier to just wander around and look at these beautiful azulejos. That's the name for Portuguese ceramic tiles. These blue and white murals depict significant scenes from Portuguese history, royal life, and rural everyday life, acting as a stunning living museum. So a little bit of history about the azulejos. They started being part of the facades in the 19th century, and this is when the bourgeois began using them to identify their houses and show that they had importance and money in the society. So azulejos were a statement of a new class. Today in Porto, you can find them all around, and once you start noticing them, you will literally see them everywhere. We walked towards the cathedral and the views just started opening up. So this was the first time when we saw the river, and we headed towards the bridge, but the upper part of it, so we could completely see the whole 2 parts of the city. way back, we passed through Santa Catarina Street, which is one of the most famous streets, in my opinion, for the shopping, and also it felt more touristy than in other parts, so we just kind of passed through quickly. And before seeing more azulejos and a very important chapel, we did another stop to eat another pastel de nata. So at this point, I think we were very, very much addicted to it. Welcome to our accommodation number 2. Both of our places we found through booking, and actually this is the one that I found this morning, because the first one that we were supposed to check in last night, for the first time ever it happened to me that the apartment is completely unclean. And since we had a late night flight, we arrived around 1 a.m. so it was a self check-in, and when we entered the room it was a mess. Towels and bed sheets are dirty and everything, so basically someone was there for a couple of days. I called the property owners, no reply, and of course understandable because it's middle of the night. Then I called booking support, so we were just like, okay, can you do something for us or not? And she was like, well, I sent them an email, but in the end you still have to wait for them to reply, and that's probably going to happen in the morning. So either you leave the place now or you stay there until we get a reply. Okay, we lay down in our clothes that we came from the airport, and we were like, let's just pretend that we are not sleeping in someone else's bed. Long story short, we are going to get a full refund, and we left the place because I really didn't want to stay there longer. We moved on. We met my parents this morning. We went with them, spent whole day, and we are about to check into this other place. And we did, but we arrived. There is such a strong smell of humidity, but you know, like, it's, am I supposed to complain again to booking? Like, it's the second stay in one day. We ignore this. We're like, okay, you know what? We're just gonna ventilate it and maybe it's gonna be fine, because we read the reviews before, as we always do, and no one complained about this. We booked today for today, so maybe they didn't come to ventilate. It's fine. We're gonna figure it out. We take a half an hour nap. We wake up. The floor is filled with termites. There's bugs everywhere, and now my husband went to buy this thing because I contacted the host and they're like, oh no, go to the supermarket and buy this raid thing. And I'm like, seriously? It was like a reply as if she already knew this was happening. So why don't you have something against the bugs? I hate insects, especially, like, we are so unlucky with this stay. Porto, outside it's beautiful, but inside we are having so many problems. I don't know, why are people not giving honest reviews? In the evening, we went down to the river Douro that splits the city in two, with Porto on one side and Gaia on the other. And on the other side is actually where all the wine trade used to happen. So there was always this contrast between the old town and kind of more like a new place in the city.
Good morning from Porto, day 2, and we are ready now to go to a food market. That's just one of the places that we want to visit all the time whenever we go to a new city. And then after that, we're gonna go closer to the seaside or ocean side. We want to enjoy this sunny day a bit also at the beach.
Day two was basically dedicated to food and celebrations, which I'm not complaining about. We started at the market, and I feel like markets are always the best way to understand the place. You can try a bit of everything without overthinking it. There are small portions, different flavors, and you can kind of build your own experience. So I always like to go to markets and have some small bites and try a bit of different local things. And every time I'm next to the sea, I like to try different new fish or some shells like we did this time. It was also my mom's birthday and my parents' anniversary, so we had a valid excuse for all of these cakes. And also I tried some local wine, which was very delicious. After the food fuel, we took a bus to the beach, which is surprisingly close. From the dense historic streets, you can get to the ocean in 30 minutes, and suddenly everything slows down. This was the perfect moment to just sit and do nothing for a bit and just enjoy the sun and the sound of waves.
We made it to the beach and it's so nice here. Actually, there is some people swimming even. I don't know if you can see behind me, but also on the other side of the beach. I only put my legs in the water and it's freezing. This is my first beach of this year, so we are opening the season. I just wanted to show you a few very summery jewelry pieces that I got from this brand Atolea, and I thought it's the best way to show you here at the beach. It's actually a couple of pieces that are completely waterproof, so they are perfect actually for the beach. First thing we have is this beautiful bracelet. It's very, very nice for a lot of outfits I have in my mind when I see this kind of bracelet. Then I like that it's a bit like yellowish, greenish in this slide. The next thing is giving a very Porto vibe actually, and it's this sardine. I also like that it's silver, so I think it's going to look very, very nice when I get a bit of tan. Earrings. They are very chic, and I think they can go also for some night vibe outfit, but as well for the day when you want something a bit more chunky. And the last thing, another necklace, and I love this one because it can be double-sided, so however you want to wear it, you can just turn it and flip it. I think I'm going to stay with this necklace for the rest of the day because it really, really fits the vibe. And as I said, the best thing about this type of jewelry is that I can just go and swim with it.
Also, one random thing I noticed, I don't speak Portuguese, but whenever I would ask a local if they spoke English, it was always like, not so much. But when I asked if they speak Spanish, everyone was saying, yes, of course. So we ended up speaking Spanish the whole time, so it made it really easy to communicate. As I said, it was a day to celebrate things, so in the evening we went to a Fado concert, and I don't want to talk so much over it because it's one of these things that you just feel. Very emotional, very raw, 1 hour of just Portuguese feelings, so I'm gonna let you just enjoy a bit of it.
Today is our last day in Porto, and we were so lucky to have sun all of these days. We're just gonna try to explore a bit more and try to see what we missed in the previous days.
I think that we actually saw a lot of things without rushing in the first 2 days, which is rare, and I think that's because we didn't try to do everything. We skipped museums this time and just focused on being outside, walking, eating, repeating, and enjoying the sun. Even when you go back to the same street, it feels a bit different. But one thing I couldn't stop noticing, especially as an architect, is how many buildings look kind of like ruins behind these really beautiful facades. You see these historic fronts, but then inside it's sometimes empty or partially abandoned or just completely crashed down. From what I understood, this comes from older housing laws where rents were very low and protected, so owners didn't really invest in renovations, and over time a lot of buildings just stayed like that. At the same time, you can also see a lot of constructions right now, so it feels like the city is slowly rebuilding itself behind those facades, and as a tourist you might not notice it immediately, but once you do, you start seeing it everywhere and just thinking about it, and that's why we did a little research to find out why is this happening. We were searching for some authentic shops and ended up finding casually this one with ceramic and tiles. We got 3 tiles, but honestly, if I could, I would take all of them and just put them on my walls. So it's really a meaningful thing to take home. And as our trip was coming to an end, we wanted to do something a bit to slow down. So we took the old tram towards the sea again, and it's slow, a bit noisy, but that's the kind of point. You just are not rushing anymore. You sit there, enjoy the view. So it was a very, very nice experience to finish this day. I already know I will come back to Portugal. There is still so much to see, and next on the list is definitely Lisbon, but I think Porto was such a good start.
I hope you enjoyed Porto like we did. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in my next vlog. Bye bye!